way up high.
Today we're going to graft a Epiphyllum hybrid onto an Opuntia ficus indicus. The first thing that I do is I make a selection of my cuttings. And there are many theories on the cuttings, but I like to use a young, tender growth that's still growing at the tip, that has formed a nice, hard mid-stem down at the bottom, so that it is inserted into my Opuntia with ease. Some people use an older cutting, such as this, but I find that the graft takes better if I use the younger cutting. Now that's my personal preference. It doesn't mean it's our core rule. So the next thing we do is select the Opuntia. And the Opuntia we selected here is called Ficus indicus. And it was developed by Burbank as a spineless variety. And the spineless is the cue for why I don't use any of the others, because they have big long spines, they're difficult, and we also find that the fibers within the Opuntia itself are more fibrous and a little more difficult for a graft to take on it. So we begin by taking our cutting and making a cut from the outside to the inside to the mid-stem. Then I trim off the bottom. And I've selected a knife here that's not really terribly sharp. I find that I have a better chance of leaving the cambium layer on the plant than if I use a really sharp knife. Now the cambium layer is the vascular system of the plant. In order for you to get a graft to take, you have to meet cambium layer of the Opuntia and cambium layer of the scion. The next thing that I'll do is I'll make a little notch into it. Now I've exaggerated this knot. I usually don't make that big, but you can actually see the cambium layer when you make this big a notch. And the thing that you want to do is just to be sure that you go in next to the cambium layer so that they're meeting. Insert it. And secure it. I use a wooden toothpick, but you can use a cactus spine or any other thing. A lot of people use a black tar to sear it like they do around some of the fruit trees and things like that, but I find it's not necessary with the Opuntias, as they produce a fluid or juiciness that seals around the end of the scion, so that you don't really need to do that. Next I use a piece of this green plastic tie. And I do this because it's going to hold the Opuntia, hold the cutting to the Opuntia, so that when the Opuntia starts growing, it doesn't actually pull it off to the graft. It'll just grow out and it'll secure it there. Now that's a cut and stab graft, and it's an easy graft to do. The next thing we have to do is make sure that we can identify what we've grafted on here. I use a plastic tag that has a hole drilled in the end of it, and I write its name on it. This happens to be Wild Thing, so I'm going to write Wild Thing. I date it, and if at all known, I put down the source where the cutting came from so that I can identify who gave it to me, and so that would be... Okay. Then I use a piece of wire and I secure it. There's a hole. There's a hole in the pot. And that's basically it. Now from this point on, if you're doing this in the wintertime, maybe it would be a good idea to take some bamboo stakes and put a plastic bag over to protect it. But if you're doing it in the summertime, when we have warm days, you shouldn't have to do any protection at all. And if the graft is going to be successful, within 4 to 6 weeks, you're probably going to see some good growth coming out of it.
So that you dream of once in a lullaby. Ooh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday I wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops high upon the chimney tops. That's where you find me, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to, why, oh why can't someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops way above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you